As the coach, everything comes on you. It was actually harder to deal with the parents than it was to deal with the actual kids. The kids just want to have the ball, run around, like that's fine. You do your thing. None of y'all are going to the professionals. That's what I told them. I was like, yo, this is just fun for y'all. Don't take this seriously because none of y'all are gonna make it in this. I was pretty ruthless with my kids. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Vibing Out with Texony. I'm your host, Texony, aka Mr. WorldVibe. Back with a new podcast, different location, switching it up on y'all. All right, keep y'all guessing. I'm at a undisclosed location. I almost said dislocated location, but that doesn't make sense. Now, okay, we're here, and I'm here to talk about funny work stories. So I hope you laugh. I hope you just enjoy the perspectives. I've worked at so many places ever since I was 18 when I was going to agencies to work in warehouses. I did that for years, and then I started getting actual real jobs and just some very different experiences, and I've learned a lot, but I've had some fun along the way with these jobs, and so I want to talk about some stories here for y'all. Before we start, just want to mention you already know I have my book, How to Vibe Out, an ebook, and I'm working on the audiobook for everybody who enjoys listening as much as they do reading. I know a lot of people actually enjoy listening to audiobooks more than reading an ebook. So for those who enjoy the book but actually want to have more access to it, that's why I'm working on the audiobook. So just stay tuned for that and get your copy of the ebook if you haven't yet. The link's in the description of this episode. So I want to start with the first job, I think the first real job I ever had, and it was at Purolator. So at their head office in Canada, actually, which is in Mississauga. You've probably passed it a bunch of times. I don't know, where is it? It's in Mississauga. Now, I got that job through a friend of a friend, so I wasn't even supposed to have the job. I was like the youngest person there. I think I was like 19, 20 years old when I was there, and I was just working around like 30, 40, 50-year-olds with their whole careers. And I just went in to do administrative assistant work. So I just came in there to file all of the physical papers into their drawers because they left so much work through the past like 10 years, all these papers. So I was sent in as an admin assistant to file and also just help out my manager at the time with all her other tasks. So I got my own office, desk area, name tag. It was really legit. I got my own computer, and I felt like an adult that wasn't an adult yet. I had to wear a dress shirt and dress pants and belt and dress shoes every day to work. So I really felt like I was living a life I didn't even sign up for. But it was fun. I met some great people there, and I actually did more work than I signed up to actually do. So I learned a lot by being there. I got my contract extended because of my work there. So yeah, that's needless to say, I learned a lot and I actually really enjoyed it. But I also enjoyed that coffee machine there. That was the first time I started drinking coffee. I remember that first day I noticed it in the lunchroom, and it's one of those ones that are free. So you just press a button, all these options there. I saw it said mocha, and I'm like, okay, I know that means chocolate. I don't know what the other words, espresso, latte, frappe. I don't know all that stuff, okay? I was just like, I see chocolate. That should taste good. So I press the button, and it, boom, like poos out whatever. It spits out like some coffee. I try it out. I bring it upstairs to my desk, and I'm like, yo, this is pretty good. I see why people drink coffee. And then I was like, I want another one. So I go back down, maybe an hour later. I have another one. By the end of the day, I think I had like 4. And I did that basically every day I was there because it's free coffee. So I'm just going to keep taking from that machine. Yeah, I fell in love with coffee there. It was great. It was really great. And by fell in love, I mean became addicted to. That's what I mean. So, but it's fine because coffee, it's got benefits, right? I was more productive when I was there drinking my coffee and stuff. So it was great in that way. But yeah, I mean, yeah, no regrets, no regrets. I figured out that I actually like black coffee more. So since then, I've figured out what works for me in the caffeine land. I mean, I'm sure most people here listening, watching, y'all consume caffeine. Maybe you consciously do. Maybe you have it in a certain way in your coffee, or maybe you just drink, I don't know, energy drinks or something. That's cool too. Maybe you drink pop. And most things, a lot of things have caffeine in them naturally. So that's my caffeine story. That's when I fell in love with coffee. And there's one more thing I don't want to forget. I actually got paid too much from Purolator. They started giving me paychecks when I was there. I don't know if I should say this. I don't know if I'm snitching on myself right now. But they gave me too much money on a paycheck. And I was like, oh, interesting. Put that in my pocket. Next week, I get another paycheck with like another like $200 extra. I'm like, interesting. And I put that in my pocket again. Next week, I get like literally like $600 extra. Like hours I wasn't even there. I'm just like, yo, I'm just going to keep sliding these checks in my pocket. I didn't tell anyone. I just kept taking that money. Eventually, it fixed itself. But I definitely made too much money there than I should have. And guess what? All that money just went to coffees after. You already know. Okay, so it's fine. Money comes, money goes. But I don't know. I didn't say anything when I got paid way too much. Should I have? I don't know. I don't think so. It's their problem. I had some ethical dilemma at that time, but I'm like, you know what? They're the ones messing up. I don't even notice. I'm just sliding the checks in my pocket, so whatever. So yeah, that's how I fell in love with coffee and made too much money at Purolator. Let's move on to number 2 here. Shoppers Drug Mart. So after I finished at Purolator, that was 2015, 2016. I went to Shoppers Drug Mart for a few years. I worked there. I met so many great people. All the shoppers, boys, you already know who you are. We got to link up soon. Yeah, I just met so many great people by working at Shoppers Drug Mart, really. And so what was my job at Shoppers? Let me start there because there's a lot of different functions, you can work at Shoppers. I was the PhotoLab technician. That sounds nice on a resume. But really, I was just standing there cashing out people's lottery and like sometimes selling Xbox controller. Like that's all I was doing. And passport pictures. Yep, when we used to travel. So yeah, it was a cool job, right? I was just at the front, do my thing. I remember when I worked there, when I started working there, I was the type of person where I was like an overdoer, like just overachieving. Those Optimum signups, I would sign up people every time. I'd be like, you want an Optimum sign up? Like, you want a card? They'd be like, no. And I'd be like, well, here's a card. And they'd be like, oh, okay. And I just ended up winning like most Optimum signups. 1 month I won. Next month I won. Next month I won. I won 6 months out of 12 months. Just getting all these signups. If you have Optimum card, it's probably about a 2% chance I signed you up. That's all I'm going to say there. But yeah, I signed up a lot of people and I was really overachieving at my first few months working there for sure. And then, as you work at a place where it doesn't require a lot of like skill, you end up maxing out on how much you can actually do at a job. So eventually you start going to work like, you know what? Yeah, another day at work. And I kind of started slacking off at that job. I'm not going to lie. I'd be the guy who was standing there and then people would look at me in line like, can I come over there? And I'd look at them and just shake my head right at them. I'd look at them straight in the eye and be like, nah, I'm busy. I can't. So I don't know. I just stopped caring at that job. I'm not going to really say what things I do because I definitely did not steal Red Bulls or Cadbury mini eggs. No, that was not me. I paid for every single thing that I purchased there, which obviously you pay for what you purchase. But I'm saying, don't worry about that stuff. I was a good worker, except when I was slacking off. And then it got to a point where I just really was going against the dress code. I was just showing up late. I was just every single excuse. Like I'd show up late and have like a drink from Tim Hortons. You know those ones, guys. You can relate to me. I hope you can. I hope it's not just me out here. But basically, I went from, at my prime, they called me Mr. Lit there. That's the nickname. They trust me. Anyone from Shoppers, all the Shoppers guys, you already know. I was called Mr. Lit. I went from that, the overachiever, to the underperformer. And I quit. I was not fired. I quit because I'm like, yo, I'm not liking this job anymore. And then when I quit, I went to my next job, which is the last place I'm going to talk about, which is soccer coaching. And that was actually a really challenging job. I've played soccer for a lot of my younger years. I played for like 5 to 10 years, I think. A lot of my youth I was playing soccer. So I knew a lot about the game. I loved it. And I had a chance to coach. So I coached kids from as young as 5 years all the way to 14. So I was working with kids of all different ages. And I didn't have any experience with kids prior to this job. So it was coaching as it's in of itself is pretty tough. And then when you coach kids, that's a whole nother challenge. Because some of those like 5-year-old kids, they didn't even know what was going on. Didn't know what a soccer ball was. Kids were throwing it up and down. I'm like, honestly, just run around. Just be a kid for an hour until your parents come back. Like, I didn't know what to do for some of these cases. Then you have the 12, 13-year-olds and they're like bullying each other. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, let's just play soccer. So it's just different levels and ages. The young kids, they could fall flat on their face, running 100 miles an hour and just get hit and fall. They just get up and keep going. They don't have any bones in their body yet. But when you get to a certain age, if you fall, you're breaking something. So when you have different ages of kids, you have to look out for them for different reasons. And I learned a lot. I learned how to work with kids. I learned that if you choose favorites, then everyone knows. So you have to be very unbiased when it comes to working with kids. Even though there's cool kids and there's like not so cool kids, you can't make it obvious which kids are not cool to everybody else. You have to just treat everyone fairly equally, and at the same time you got to be strict enough to run the drills. Otherwise the kids don't listen to you. They don't respect you if you don't like use the whistle and like yell. But you can't be too strict that the kids go home to their parents crying like, yo, I didn't have fun, I don't like this. Because then as the coach, everything comes on you. It was actually harder to deal with the parents than it was to deal with the actual kids. The kids just want to have the ball, run around, like that's fine. You do your thing. None of y'all are going to the professionals. That's what I told them. I was like, yo, this is just fun for y'all. Don't take this seriously because none of y'all are going to make it in this. I was pretty ruthless with my kids. I'm not going to lie, guys. I said some things that toughened them up, okay? That was me. I was the cool one who didn't do much. Coming from the shoppers, I'd be sitting there, legs crossed, like, yo, just... I remember one day I came to work hungover, really hungover. And all the kids were excited to play soccer. We had drills planned. We had a game at the end of every session. I had my iced coffee. I was like this on a chair the whole time. I was like, y'all, just honestly get out of my face and run around. And they were like, Coach Texony, what are we doing today? And I'm like, we aren't doing anything. You're running around. I'm sitting here. And, so there's days like that too. So overall, it was fun. I did learn a lot. But at the same time, I didn't take it too seriously because these kids just want to have fun and run around. So that's what it is. So if you have kids or younger siblings and you enroll them in sports, don't be too serious. Like, half of these kids don't even want to play the sport you enroll them into. They're just there to have fun with friends. So it's way bigger than soccer. That's what I learned. So, but again, I met great people there. And there was I remember this one kid who always called me Coach Texony. And it's just, you remember certain people, like certain kids, and I'm sure they remember you too. Because there's certain jobs we have where the interaction is very memorable for that person. Like, you'll probably remember your favorite teacher, your favorite coach with a sport just because of the interaction and how, valuable that is down the line. So I'm glad I got that experience for sure, even though I could have done better, could have done worse too. And I definitely got promoted again in that job. I got to coach a lot of teams. I took on like the professional teams where parents pay like 5 times as much money. And when you play against teams of other regions, I did well in that too for coaching that team by myself. So I definitely progressed and learned, but ultimately I just have fun doing it and didn't take it too seriously because you don't really have to. It's just a game. It's just kids coming together for activities. So yeah, those are my 3 stories: my Purolator story, my Shoppers Drug Mart story, and then finally doing soccer coaching. I've had so many jobs and I don't think I'm done having different types of jobs. I'm not the type of person who can work at a place for a long time doing the same thing forever. Like, I need new experiences. I need new challenges in my job. So that's something that still part of me, still what I'm working to doing, because now I drive tests, and with the podcast, it's just always different things with me. But there's always some funny stories and situations. So if you have any to share with me, I'd love to hear it. Just comment on the video if you're watching on YouTube, or hit me with a message, a DM. Let's have a conversation. I want to know what kind of funny or interesting job stories or experiences you have yourself. So thank you for watching, for listening. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next episode. We got Feature Fridays coming up before the end of this season, which will be the end of June. So stay tuned till then. And yeah, have a good day. See you next time. This has been Vibing Out with Texony. I'm your host, Texony, aka Mr. WorldVibe. And I'm signing out. Peace.